Hello, today I'm going to be doing a tutorial on how to do your own tie-dyeing at home. So there's quite a few things that you need to get set up and to make sure that you've got before you can get started. Now, there's lots of different ways that you can approach tie-dyeing, but I've gone for quite a straightforward method, and I've just ordered some different dyes online on Amazon. So I bought a kit. I'll put the link to the product at the end as well, and the kit came with all these different coloured dyes. So they're just powders in a bottle, and then you fill it up to the line with water. It also comes with some instructions of different types of tie-dyeing, so that's really cool actually. It's a really good product because it's quite clear. It comes with some elastic bands so you can seal in your dye, and then it comes with loads of different gloves and a plastic sheet for the table if you need it as well. Now, the one thing that it doesn't come with is materials to dye. So what I suggest you do, like me, is go around the house, gather up anything that you don't want anymore that's white. It doesn't have to be in perfect condition. It could be a good opportunity to use an old t-shirt that you no longer want, or some socks. I've got a selection of items. I've got an old kind of bag cover that I thought I could use for laundry when I go away. I thought I could tie-dye that. I've got some just long sleeve white tops that I actually bought for a shoot that I never used years ago. Some white shoelaces. And then I've got a load of white socks that I'm going to use that I've already had in the house. You know, this is a really good way of not going out and buying loads and loads of new items. The idea is you should use preferably things that you've got in the house. Obviously, if you want to buy something, then go for it. But let's think about the environment as well here. So the first thing that I'm going to do is, I've got everything laid out, I've set up my station, is that I need to fill my bottles with water. So I'm going to do that now, and then I'm going to give them a really good shake when I've filled each one to the line and let them set for a few minutes. And then I will tell you the next step. So I'm now going to just fill my bottles to the black line with water. I'm going to do all of them, and then I'm going to give them each a really good shake. There's a nozzle on top actually as well, so when you do give them a shake, you should be fine. You won't get it anywhere. So I'm going to do that now. Make sure the lid's on really tight, and then give it a really good shake. To make sure that all the liquid dissolves in really well. So hopefully now you've filled up your tie-dye bottles with water, like so, and they fill to the line. You've got your colours laid out, you've got your gloves ready, and then that step is done for the minute. The next thing you need to do is get rid of these. So just get rid of them. Just put them over there somewhere, out of the way. So put them out the way. And then what we're going to do is we're going to get back our items to dye. So mine are obviously going to take me a really long time, so I'm just going to do an example with just some socks, with my shoelaces, and with my tote bag. So I'm just going to use those items to start with. So I've just got 3 different items there. The first thing you need to do is you need to decide what type of tie-dye that you want to achieve. Now, there's so many different things that you can do. You can use elastic bands to tie your material in different ways, which will create different patterns. You can also add things such as buttons and trap them in between the material to create patterns as well. But it is trial and error. I always say if you've got a piece spare or something that you're not too bothered about ruining, if you don't like the outcome, then try a few different patterns and techniques on that first. But this sheet that comes with it is really, really helpful. You've got the classic tie-dye where you do a swirl in the middle, so I'm going to show you how to do that with the bag. You've got an ombre kind of tie-dye. There's all sorts, and it gives you clear instructions on how to achieve that on the instructions. So the first thing that I am going to have a go at is tackling my tote bag. So I'm going to move everything out of the way. Now, what I'm going to do with this one is I'm going to create the classic bullseye pattern with my tie-dye. So the easiest way to do it is to lay this out flat on the table, completely flat, and then all you do is you pinch the middle of it like so. So you just pinch the middle and have it coming down like that. So all you do is lay it flat like so, and then you just pinch the middle like so. And then all you're going to do is keep it pinched at the top, and then you're going to add your elastic bands as you go down it. So it doesn't really matter how far down your elastic bands go, but the elastic bands are what traps the ink in individual sections. So I'm going to do mine about 2 centimetres from the end, and then I'm going to do that all the way down. So this bit will take you quite a while to get right. Does take a little bit of time, but as you can see, it's starting to create this trapped effect all the way down it. And that is how the ink will get trapped in within the elastic bands. So the more elastic bands you add, technically the more colours you can add. It depends how much of a pattern that you want to achieve. But like I said, it is trial and error. It's meant to be fun. It's meant to be enjoyable. Okay, I'm nearly there. Nearly there. Last bit, last bit. We're getting there. I think I need 1 or 2 more. I've done mine quite a lot. Don't need to do this many, but I like to make things difficult for myself, clearly. I think I'm going to add 1 more maybe. So that is that one done. So I'm going to just put that to one side. Now I'm going to have a go at tie-dyeing some socks. So there's obviously a lot less in a sock to tie-dye. Now I'm going to try something which is a bit different with these ones. Something that isn't an obvious thing to do, but I like to experiment and be creative. So I'm going to have a go at trapping some buttons of different sizes in between my socks and see what happens. Now this could go horribly wrong, so I will show you at the end how it actually comes out, but I'm going to have a go at just trapping some buttons in between. So the way that I'm actually going to do this one is I am just going to fold them with the buttons inside and see what happens. I don't necessarily want it to be perfectly button shaped, the outcome. I just want some effect to happen. I'm willing to experiment here and be super creative. So that is what we're going for. So I'm just laying out my buttons on to my sock like so. I'm going to put loads in because why not? And then what I'm going to do is try and trap each of the buttons by folding the sock with it inside. So I'm just going to fold it all up together, trying to make sure each button has their own little section, I guess, as I fold. Like I said, I haven't done this before, so it could go absolutely horrifically wrong. But nonetheless, we will see. I'm still folding in my buttons. Quite a fiddly one, this one. Might not be a good one if you just want to attempt it for the first time, but hey ho. I like a challenge. So I'm getting there. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is, before they all start falling out, is I'm going to attack this with elastic bands and just put them everywhere, just to make sure that everything stays in and no buttons can escape. So hopefully I'm going to be able to create almost two effects in one with this. That's what I'm aiming for anyway. Hopefully. This button is trying to escape. So I'm going to add one more. And hopefully the end result is going to be like this. So I now need to do it to my other sock. That one did take quite a long time to do. It was quite a fiddly process. So I'm now going to do the other sock. Like I said, this might not work, but let's have a go and see what happens. So I need some more buttons. Okay. Okay, so I'm now ready to go with the tie-dye. It's really important that you do put gloves on whilst you are doing the tie-dye. This particular kit comes with gloves. If not, just use some kind of household gloves, rubber gloves, whatever gloves. But it does stain. I've done this many, many times before, and I've also not worn gloves in the past, and I've learned from my experiences because I've ended up with stained hands for days and days, because don't forget it is fabric purpose dye. So I'm going to put my gloves on. I'm going to start to think about what colours I want to use as well. I really want to go for like a pastel-y kind of vibe. So it might be actually that you dilute your colours with a bit of water if you think it could come out quite dark. But I think I'm going to just stick to the way they are. So now I've got my gloves on. I can start. I've also spilt water all over my table, so it's a bit wet. I think I'm going to start with my socks first. And you can just literally pour straight from the bottle. Make sure you've got a clear space. However, I really like to use a paintbrush to help me spread my ink better. So if you've got a brush that you can use as well, it might be useful. And you could pour it into a little pot if you wanted to. So that's something which might be helpful. Okay, now I'm just going to start adding it on. So, move that one away. I'm going to do my socks first. I'm going to try and stick to the same colours. I think for these, I'm going to use yellow. I'm going to use pink. And I've got another pinky colour and purple. So I'm going to, I might use green as well. Oh, I might just use them all. I might just do a mix. I'm going to make sure they're really shaken up. Left them to set for a while. Let's go full rainbow. Okay. So then you just need to take the nozzles off the top and pretty much just pour it into the section that you want. So I'm just going to go with it. There's no particularly neat sections. I'm just going to try and make sure it's even. And just kind of stick it in. I think I'm going to use my brush because admittedly it's not working the best on this one. It's just going all over the table. So I'm just going to add different sections. As you can see, I'm not being neat about mine at all because I want a really fun kind of pattern to come out. I'm just going to do it really random. I've changed my mind though. I think I'm just going to use 2 colours because it's quite small and I made a bit of a mess on this one. So I'm going to just clean my brush. It's really important you clean your brush if you are using a brush because it will dry out from the ink if you don't. So I'm going to put that to one side. I'm going to use pink actually. Pink is my favourite. Then I would put the lid back on just in case you end up knocking it over. Okay. So I'm just going to work on the table and paint certain areas. Might be easier if you use one glove actually, because it's hard to get a grip of the material if you use 2. So I'm just going to really get in there with a brush. I feel like it's way easier. And again, the joy of it is it doesn't really have to be too neat. It's fun and it's going to come out cool anyway, for sure. For sure.